Mirra Bank is an award winning director who has worked in both film and theatre. She was in Bangalore screening her new documentary, The Only Real Game. This movie is about the Manipuris and their fascination for baseball. After a little tussle, I could finally grab her for a conversation. Yeah, hello everyone. I am Aditi and I am here with Ms. Mirra Bank, the director of this documentary film, The Only Real Game. I would first like to ask you, what is the meaning of your name, Mirra? Is it, how do you pronounce it, Mirra or Mira?
It's Mirra
Okay.
in American English. My mother was born in Russia, and this name, the spelling, is more like an Eastern European spelling. And as I understand it, in that language, in Russian, Mir means earth or peace. So it's a kind of a version of that idea in my name.
Alright, so because here you pronounce it as Mira.
Mirra, yes.
The name Mira over here means it's a devotee of Lord Krishna.
Yes.
Okay, she was
I'll
the one
take
who
it.
attained salvation at the end. I say here.
I'm happy to join with her. I'm with her.
Okay. And so it's like I just want to ask you that you've done like a variety of films. First I think the first of you talking about the first movie of yours was with this very favorite actor of mine, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
The enormous
Enormous Changes.
Enormous changes.
Yeah.
So then and afterwards you focused on this movie called as UD. And which was on this, which was on the independent. It was basically on politics, and then came Nobody's Girl, and then I mean every movie of every film that you've done has something to do with ladies. Okay, so what are you actually trying to focus on? What is your main idea when you do a documentary?
Well, actually, the film I did right before this, which is called Last Dance,
Okay, that was nominated for the Academy.
shortlisted
Shortlisted,
for the
okay.
Academy Award for Best Documentary.
And
That
it
one
was
was not specifically about a woman. In fact, in many ways, the characters who on film who drove that story were men. The artistic directors of the dance company were men.
The Phobulous.
Philopoulos, and Maurice Sendak, he's a man. So some of the dancers were women, but that was not specifically at all about women. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure I have an answer to that, except that when I was your age and ideas that were important to us were becoming reality. One of the big issues was women's rights, and the sort of the 70s and 80s were a big period for questions about women being equal in every sphere, in creative life, in business life, in political life. So I think those things were very alive for me in my own life, and those were the things I wound up making films about.
And so then when you just did this movie was named something else, A Way Home.
Away Home was what we call a working title.
Okay.
Working title.
Okay.
But I felt that I wanted something that was more poetic, more meaningful to me. And this phrase, the only real game, comes from something that was said by, for us, he's like your Sachin Tendulkar from many years ago. Babe Ruth is probably the greatest baseball player who ever lived. And when he was leaving the game, he was very ill. In 1947, he died several months later. He had throat cancer. And he gave a farewell address to 50 or 60,000 people in Yankee Stadium. And he said, and this national pastime, which I played as a boy, I was an orphan, I played with a stick in the streets of New York, and people like me could grow up to become heroes and legends for other kids. He said, that's what makes it, I think, the only real game in the world. So that was very meaningful for me, because here's a situation where it is a game that travels the world and means that same thing to people as far away as Monaco. So that seemed like a much more, for me, more resonant title.
Okay, why India? What made you think of India?
I didn't think of it. I was presented with this subject because colleagues of mine came to Manipur and were there for other reasons, but when they discovered that baseball was being played there, particularly Muriel Peters, who was supposed to be here with me, she's ill. She's actually still in Delhi. She's in the hospital. she's getting better, but we wish she were here. She's one of the producers of the film, and she's a big baseball fan, huge baseball fan. So she came back and was very excited about this, that they were not just baseball players, but that the people who approached her and came to her and asked for help were the women. There were terrific women players in Manipur. And I said, that's a movie, that's just an unbelievable movie. Partly because people never think of baseball in relation to India. Most Americans know very little about India, and they know nothing about Manipur. I mean, most of us have never heard of it. So that's a big opportunity for a filmmaker. You want to be a documentary filmmaker. Somebody brings you a subject that's got this great, almost, it's like you can't make this up. What, they play baseball there? You can't make that up, right? And it's in a place that people don't know, and you get to discover it on film. If anyone brings you a story like that, don't say no, say yes.
So what do you think about India?
I mean, I think, obviously, I wouldn't keep coming here if I didn't love it. It's a great country, and it's, it's full of talented people, and people with great energy, and people with tremendous ability to welcome people and to go out into the world. It's an open culture in that way, so I think it's a great culture.
Would you ever make any other movie if you get?
Well, actually, my husband, who was part of the production, you didn't meet him. He had to go back. He's a writer, very good playwright, and a screenwriter, but he's also a physician, so he had to go back because he has patients. But somewhat based on the characters in the story and the experiences we had over those years, he wrote a fiction script. And I think it's a very good script. So if somebody can find the money, I think we'd be more than happy to make a film like that. But maybe it's a film that should be directed by an Indian director. I don't know, because I'd be thrilled to work here again. But I think it might be hard to raise money for an American to make a film like that.
Have you ever been kind of associated with any Indian documentary filmmaker?
Well, I know Mirra Bank is a good friend. Good friend. She's a good acquaintance. I know Mirra Bank, and I certainly know Indian filmmakers. Kaveri Kaul, you'll hear about her. She's just been in Calcutta, where she was born, and making a film about part of her family history. I know Deepa Mehta a little bit. I know there are quite a few Indian film people who I know in New York mostly. I wouldn't say from all over.
Do movies get banned in America?
No.
Okay.
We don't ban movies.
Okay.
And you shouldn't ban them here for any reason.
What do you want to tell to the future people, the people who actually want to become documentary filmmakers? Any advice?
Yeah, the advice is sometimes the biggest mistakes are the things that are the biggest problems. You saw the film last night. They turn into the sort of richest material, and you have to stay with it. You have to be ready to just let all the layers happen and commit to it and stay with it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.